This is what the fourth gear clutch hub should look like. You can see there's splines all the way to the end. And this is one that has had the splines worn off. There's nothing left out here. So now that I have the new fourth gear clutch hub, I'm going to put it back in. To get the fourth gear clutch hub on, you may have to rotate it back and forth a few times while pushing in and make sure it's fully seated. Next I'm going to put the clutch plates in. This little dimple here, this little tab, that'll go on the bottom, and then line these two slots up here. Like that. Once you have the clutch plate assembly on, you want to make sure that this is lined up right here. If not, this will rotate a little bit. You can also use this template to put over and make sure it fits, and then you know that the case cover will fit. And if needed, you can leave this on to hold your clutch plates in place if you need to do something else, so they don't slide off the end of the shaft. It has the same holes and shape as the end of the case cover. So I have the new gaskets in place on the upper and lower here, and I cut the heads off of some 6 and 8 millimeter bolts, and I put them on just to help hold the gaskets in place, keep them aligned, and to align the case cover as I slide it on. And on the cover I put some assembly glue on both of the thrust washers to hold them in place while I put the case on. A couple of bolts that I took out of the housing here got damaged removing them. They came out pretty hard. These are an M8 bolt, flange head bolt, 50 millimeters long, and I purchased some. These are also flange head bolt, 50 millimeters long, but as you can see, these original ones you take a 10 millimeter socket, and these use a 13 millimeter. So I think they would fit. There's recesses in the cover for these bolt heads, but just to be safe, I machined a couple of them down so that they will use a 10 millimeter socket, and they are slightly taller. They are well below this surface, and this will give me a little more area to put my socket on. So I've tightened up all the bolts on here and torqued them This one is 18 foot-pounds. These three are 18 foot-pounds. This one's 11 foot-pounds. These others are 106 inch-pounds. This one down here, this one that takes the T30 Torx. Down here, this one, there's three over here, one up here, or excuse me, this one, and these two. Next, the oil pump goes on. And the two longest bolts go in the top two holes, and then the rest in the perimeter. All the M6 bolts around the perimeter get torqued to 106 inch-pounds. And the two larger ones up here, the M8s, get torqued to 11 foot-pounds. Next, I'm going to replace the two solenoids on the left side. The pressure control solenoid goes in the lower hole. It has a little tab here that goes on top. And then just push the clip back in till it snaps. And then the upper solenoid has a tab here that goes in this slot. And another clip. To reconnect this rod, just pull the spring back and then slide the rod up to the hole in the bottom of this shaft and then release the spring, and that holds it in place. And now this lube scoop just fits right in this cavity, slide it in place, and you should hear it snap. Next is this bracket with this little roller, and that goes right in this slot. And then it mounts back on the case. And now the wiring harness. I'll start on the right side here. Put that one in here. Here. This one here. And now the ones on the left side. The plugs are each a little different, so you can't really mix them up. I'll start with the back one here. This one. And this last one. And then the one on the end just snaps back in this little clip at the bottom. And let's see, there's one more little clip here to hold the harness. And one last clip on top. Now I'm ready to put the side cover on. I put a little assembly lube on this O-ring to hold it in place so it doesn't fall out while I put the cover on. The 4 Torx head screws will go in these bottom holes here. This transmission has 4 stud bolts. One is here, there's one here with a nut on it for this bracket, and the other 2 are here. And the rest around the outside are just standard flange head bolts. And then all the bolts, including the Torx head, get tightened to 18 foot-pounds.